This video is brought to you by Raycon True Wireless Earbuds. Stick around to hear more about them and also a special offer they're making available through my channel. Okay, so in this video we do one thing and one thing only. We stand Sucker Punch. I feel weird about making this video because I feel like a lot of really cynical people are just gonna be like, oh, it's only 9 levels and some horde mode missions, let's not over exaggerate how good this is. Fuck those people. Do you have any idea how much work has gone into what they've added to this game? How much polish and content and attention to detail? Can you not feel how awesome it is to like Naruto run towards a capture point with your 3 samurai homies by your side, each of you picking your own targets as your foes fold in 2 under your blades? Can you not see the completely reimagined art style and environment design? Are you just ignoring the completely new enemy types added to this when games like Destiny took like 3 years to get new enemies? Are you blind to the collaboration that these missions engender and the way the social tools allow this to happen in a near frictionless way? No, I'm sorry, this is not just another add-on. This is the single best piece of add-on content for any game released in 2020, and it's free! But it's not really free since you have to pay for PS Plus. Shut the fuck up. I think some people as well are gonna say like, oh well, you know, isn't it sad that we have to thank developers for giving us the bare minimum these days, as though we should expect this sort of content for free on the reg? This is not the bare minimum. The bare minimum is the absolutely broken garbage that is served up to us with games like Fallout 76 and Anthem and Ghost Recon Breakpoint and Marvel's Avengers. These fucking games that every single one of them were less complete and less fun than was this free multiplayer update to an already extraordinary game. No, this is not the bare minimum. We should not expect content this substantial and this good for free. And when it comes along, the appropriate response is to say thank you. More so than anything else that has been released in 2020, I feel a deep sense of gratitude for this thing. This feeling of like, wow, you didn't really need to do this, so thank you very much. Call me simp up all you like, I don't care. Sucker Punch did something special here, and I'm gonna shout about it for a few minutes. Ghost of Tsushima Legends is a free update available to you if you've purchased Ghost of Tsushima, which is something you should have already done if you have a PS4. The base game was brilliant. If you're unfamiliar with it, it's an open-world samurai action-adventure RPG mashup. Over 30 or so hours, you'll go from the toe to the tip of Tsushima, beating back the Mongol invaders in an epic saga of family and friendship and honor and betrayal. The game stands out most in its streamlining of the open-world formula, which we've become so accustomed to this generation, stripping back the frustrating busy work and reliance on map markers, instead drawing our gaze to the horizon, encouraging genuine exploration, and taking the time to smell the matcha tea when the moment calls for it. Ghosts of Tsushima is tied with God of War as the highest rated user score PS4 exclusive of this generation, and one of the highest rated user score games ever on Metacritic. As far as everyone was concerned, this was a job well done for Sucker Punch, tick. Move right along to the sequel, thank you very much. But no, in August of this year, Sucker Punch shocked everyone by announcing an update that would add a dedicated multiplayer mode for free that would include co-op story missions and horde mode content. The internet went kinda wild because hey, who doesn't love free stuff? But I don't think anyone could have anticipated just how much effort has gone into this thing. Firstly, we need to talk about the visual design. This is some Death Stranding shit right here. If you've played Ghost of Tsushima, you'd know that it's this drenched in color sort of adventure. It's this saturation dialed up to 11 and your eyes are just drinking it in. Legends is totally different. It's almost exclusively dark, but it makes up for it with a far more stylized visual scape and color palette. See, the Oni and the Tengu are in these stories, the Japanese demons of folklore, and their influence has corrupted the world. Floating corpses and demonic crystals and flowing red energy like bloodstains on darkened skies. There isn't nearly as much color here, but what's here starkly punctuates the scene. Every highlight a crimson exclamation mark demanding your attention. The same effort has gone into enemy design. The Mongols have been possessed by the Oni, now shambling corpses enslaved slave to demonic will. In addition to the existing suite of enemies, entirely new enemies have been added, like mace-wielding brutes who strike the earth to explode all those around them, or Oni and Tengu pikemen, swordsmen, and archers, each of them with their own sophisticated movesets that make them far more challenging than any other foe. They aren't HP sacks, they are better combatants, which is consistent with the way that Sucker Punch have approached enemy scaling in the main game as well, and it's something that almost no other RPG or action game manages to get right. The best part about these new enemies is that they are so well made that missions are designed around their capabilities. These priestesses, for example, emit a huge healing aura, so if one of these enemies is up, it's essentially impossible to kill anything else. When you encounter one of these priestesses, your entire strategy has to shift to taking them out first, either by a high-risk full frontal assault or through a stealthy approach. These crow enemies are just brutal. They spray crows at you and will absolutely melt you unless you know how to bring them down fast. So again, your entire strategy changes when you know these guys are in the area because they are just so potent. Can I just pause here and say that already at this point, this free multiplayer update has demonstrated vastly better enemy and encounter design than any of these fucking games. Even in their current states, years after some of them have been released. All of these games are populated with dumbass enemies, and the only way they become harder is by having more HP and doing more damage. Ghost of Tsushima, in its little multiplayer mode, runs rings around those games that are built to do that specific thing, but generally fail at it. Don't even get me started on level design. Actually, let me get myself started on level design. These missions are better than the missions in the main game. They combine this excellent mechanics-based enemy design with interesting objectives. Having to bring down one of the priestesses while also needing to protect hostages from attack is not easy. Later on, you'll be given a spirit bow that'll let you weaken enemies which are otherwise heavily buffed, so you need to weave this ability into your regular combat. There's one mission where the enemies are invisible except when lightning strikes, so you're standing there guard up, waiting for the lightning to strike like fucking Andy Dufresne. Every mission is as good as this. Every mission has this mechanic that layers on the challenge in such an interesting and intelligent way. Any one of these missions in Ghost of Tsushima's Legends mode is better than any mission I've ever done in any of these fucking games. I couldn't believe this either. There are actually 4 classes here, and their identities are so distinct that you truly appreciate when you are running with a stacked squad, because you can feel the synergy that emerges. There's the damage-dealing samurai, the sneaky assassin, the ranged archer, and the support class Ronin, who I played. Each class has abilities and a talent tree. My Ronin, for example, could summon a spirit wolf to aid him in battle, or he could drop a healing rift like a warlock. He has an ultimate which immediately resurrects party members when they die, and I can modify that to set nearby enemies on fire. He has an AoE buff that makes enemies take more damage and deal less. My Ronin is basically a World of Warcraft shaman from back when shamans were actually good. All classes have these class roles that are deep and distinct and well thought out and functional and fun. If you were so inclined, you could level and gear each of these classes, giving you about 30 hours worth of gameplay in this multiplayer game mode alone. And that's before the raid hits, which hasn't even been released yet. In addition to all of this, there is a loot game. If you've played any of these fucking games before, you'll be familiar with how it works. Gear has stats as well as a power level known as your key, which is essentially your eye level. You grind this gear to get access to higher tier challenges, bronze, silver, gold, and then eventually the nightmare missions, which are essentially Destiny Nightfall missions, in that they change a whole bunch of stuff and they're really, really hard. The gear game is functional. It's not incredible, but it's good. You get items that you want to use. They have stats on them that are useful to you. You can re-roll them to make them better. You can get legendaries that do cool shit like set your opponents on fire, and those legendaries actually drop. Avengers. Build diversity is a real thing here. If I wanted my Ronin to have more uptime on his Spirit Wolf, I could build towards cooldown reduction. If I wanted to make him a heal bot, I could pile stats into plus healing. If I wanted to make him a straight up damage dealer, that works too. I mean, I don't know what to say here other than that gear systems really aren't that complicated to get right. Like, I'm sorry, but they're not. And so few games get them right, especially these fucking games. Ghost of Tsushima didn't need 2 years and 9 patches to arrive at an enjoyable and functional loot system. it got there the first time. The thing that really blows me away about this update though, and I really hope like Game Maker's Toolkit or whoever do a video on this shit, because this is worthy of study, okay? It's how deeply they've baked collaboration and cooperation into this package, and how easy it is to work together with this complete stranger that you've just been randomly matchmade with. Because yeah, I played this entire thing through matchmaking, where I never had to wait any more than like 10 seconds to be matched with another player, and the netcode was generally great, but for a few teleporting enemies. Oh, and there's drop-in matchmaking, by the way, so if someone leaves a mission, you can replace them. Avengers, a game tailor-made for hundreds of hours of co-op play, doesn't have this feature, and it's been out for more than 2 months now. Anyway, I digress. When you're in the missions themselves, there's obviously the basic stuff like the emote wheel, which allows for some basic communication, but most people aren't going to use a whole lot of that. What they will use is the contextual pinging system. I can ping anything in the world to denote that it's my target, so that my teammate can choose to either stealthily take down the other foe or focus down my target if needed. When I ping the healing drums, I tell my entire team that I'm doing that with an audio cue so they know what to do. When I use my healing rift, I also use a voice emote so that my teammates won't miss it. When my teammates go down, the narrator tells me so I know to respond to it.
A ghost called out for help.
With all these tools in place, Sucker Punch were unafraid to ask people to work together. Many of the missions feature enemies that are soul-linked and need to be taken down at the same time, forcing people to work together. There's an elemental alignment buff later which always appears in twos, so if I get the sun buff, I need to rely on my teammate to focus down the moon buffed enemies or we will fail. In a few missions, there's also these platforming challenges which leverage these buffs, and my teammate and I need to leap from platform to platform, leapfrogging over each other since only one person can activate each platform. In most multiplayer co-op match-made games, the developers go to as much effort as possible to ensure that you never really need to rely on your teammate, because there's this fear that people won't cooperate and will just end in frustration. Sucker Punch were fearless in this regard, building classes that complement each other, building social systems that facilitate coordination, and building missions that demanded people work together. It was so refreshing to be in that situation and to see the sort of music that my random partners and I could so effortlessly create. Obviously, a lot of this video has been throwing shade at other games in the co-op looter space that have just fucking sucked, let's not mince words. I really found Ghost of Tsushima to be such a stark reminder of how low our standards have fallen. Like, I feel now that I probably went easy on the Avengers in my review, and if you watch that review, you'd know I was not kind to it. So many people, myself included sometimes, are willing to make excuses for so much of the bullshit that this genre throws at us, but here's a developer that just does it right the first time by focusing on what matters and not compromising on quality. And I'm sorry, but that's how it should be. We should get games that launch in a functional state, and the design should be so good that you want to keep playing because it's fun. They shouldn't be relying on broken, endless, grindy loot systems to create this fake carrot so that you're more likely to stick around and spend money on microtransactions. And just to be clear, I'm not just celebrating the fact that this is like meeting the minimum standard. This game really goes above and beyond in many regards, particularly in relation to cooperation and collaboration, the way they make that possible. That's really rare, especially in a genre that is so focused on playing with other people. This is like the one game that actually manages to nail it straight out of the box. Ghost of Tsushima Legends is the best live service-like game released in 2020, even though it's not even trying to be a live service. It's just trying to be a cool game mode on top of an already excellent game. And it's free! Sucker Punch, thank you. Not much else to say here other than I really appreciate this product, and I will be a loud and proud advocate for your shit so long as you keep this up. That's it. That's the video. Thank you, Sucker Punch. You guys rock. This video was brought to you by Raycon True Wireless Earbuds, and if you haven't got yourself a pair of earbuds yet, then you are missing out. I've been using Raycons for nearly a year now, and I was skeptical about them at first because they're literally half the price of other earbuds, and I was like, I don't know man, sounds kind of shady, but no, the quality was just as good or better than other earbuds I had used, and the battery life was awesome as well. Raycon's newest model, the Everyday E25 earbuds, are their best ones yet, with 6 hours of playtime, seamless Bluetooth pairing, more bass, and a more compact design that gives you a nice noise isolating fit. Raycons are part of my everyday now. I use them when I'm outside, when I'm stuck at home, when I'm listening to audiobooks, or just when I'm catching up on YouTube videos on my phone. They're the sort of thing that if I lost them, I would just immediately buy another set of them because I couldn't live without them. Best of all, Raycons come with a 45-day return policy, so you don't need to take my word for it. You can try them for yourself, and if you aren't happy with them, you get your money back. Easy. To get 15% off your order, click the link in the description below or visit buyraycon.com/skillup. Thanks Raycon for sponsoring the video, and thank you for watching it. Thanks for watching my video. If you liked it, give it a thumbs up. If you didn't, give it a thumbs down so I know to do better for next time. If you enjoyed yourself, consider subscribing, and if you really enjoyed yourself, maybe consider hitting that notification bell so you never miss a video. You can see my patrons here on the left. They're awesome. They're amazing. If you want to join them, check out my Patreon page. Thank you again. I'll see you next time. Bye-bye.